Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we start with a new topic, that is how do we create ceilings, false ceilings for the projects. Okay, so I'm going to show you various methods of creating false ceilings. So I'm going to pick a new project, and very quickly I'm just going to create some walls, and maybe also I'm going to add some door, window, and create some levels as well. Okay, so I'm going to add one more level to this project. Create a very simple room, maybe just this much, one room over here, and gonna make sure that all these rooms are connected to that specified level. Gonna create some partition walls as well, or partition room. Maybe this can be our bathroom. Add some more rooms inside these. I'm gonna make sure that all of that rooms are connected. It's fine. So very roughly, I've created a very rough floor plan over here. It's not very accurate, but I'll just make sure that I label all these rooms. So I'm gonna use the room command from here, and I'm gonna label all these rooms, individual rooms, what are they. Okay, or I can use place room automatically command also to label all the rooms together. तो हर एक रूम को मुझे टैग करना था या लेबल्ड करना था, so I would use this place room automatically command. Okay, and it will automatically place room tags to each of the rooms. We have done this before also. I'm going to select all of these room, and they are all been labeled as room, and these are the room numbers. Okay, which you can select that room and you can rename this room. Maybe we can call this as bathroom. So you can call this room as your bedroom or master bedroom. Okay, so you can label all these room. You can call this as living room. And we can get this room as maybe the kitchen. So you can label all of these rooms, okay, to their respected names. I'll also create the slab for this particularly floor. But before I do that, I'll just add some door in this rooms over here, so that maybe this might be my entrance door. This would be the door for the kitchen. Let's keep a door for the bathroom. Maybe I can put it from right over here. Give it right at the end, at the side. Just remember, this is just a rough floor plan that I've created, just to explain you how do we create false ceilings for the floor plans. I'll also add the slab. Lock these lines. Be this sunk slab over here. Slab basically. That much portion is cut out for the sunk slab. And we're going to go back in that level. We're going to create a sunken floor for that as well. It's again a slab. Then sunken of 200 mm negative. Sunk slab. That's your main slab. Door, can add some windows as well in the project. Some lower windows. Just to remind you, just adding very roughly, not very precise also in adding windows or door. Simple, decent project been added over here. And I just wanted to copy to the top level as well. So I'm going to come to the level, going to select all of these, copy command, and I'll paste it on the upper level. Now I'm unable to copy this because the rooms tags are also being selected. So I don't want that to get selected. The rooms or the room tags won't be get copied. So now we can copy this, align to the selected levels, paste it on the second level. So now if you look at your 3D view, we have a similar level on the top. I'll just delete this door. I'm going to copy this slab and this sunken slab. Copy and paste it on the top level. Level 2. So that's the slab for top level. I'm gonna take the edit sketch boundary and just click on finish mode one more time so that the wall base gets attached to the top surface. There we go, the slab is attached. So quickly we have just created a room plan and everything. I'm just gonna wanted to add a ceiling inside one of these rooms. Maybe if I cut a section, suppose if I take a section of this living room, that just gonna drag this crop box till this room ends basically here, or maybe till up till here. So that's the section for this particularly room. Okay, and now if I just right click on that section and go to that view, it will show me that section view of that specified room. Okay, so as you can see, we have a slab, we have our walls, okay, but we don't have a false ceiling inside this project anywhere basically. Okay, we can see the brick wall, we can see the slab, we can see the bottom slab. There's no false ceiling in this project at all basically. So if you wanted to create a false ceiling for this level, for which level 1. So we have a ceiling plan view in the project browser. Even in the ceiling plan you will find that name of the level. तो जब भी false ceiling अगर बनाना है या कोई भी ceiling component add करना है, like light on the ceiling or your any object, any component that will be placed on the ceiling on the top level basically there. Okay, we'll select this ceiling plan view. Okay, so I'm not going to take the floor plan any longer now. I'm going to draw everything in the ceiling plan. So whatever I'll be drawing in the ceiling plan, that would be going into the ceiling level height basically. Okay, so we have 3 levels in this: level 1, level 2, and level 3. So we need to choose for which level you want to create a ceiling. So I want to create for this level number 1. Okay, so I'm going to select level number 1. If I want to create a ceiling for this room, so then I'll take level number 3. Oh, sorry, level number 2, not 3. So it will create a ceiling for this level. Okay, so I'm going to pick level 1. And now when I'm in the level, you can see I'm unable to see that door actually, because the cut plane is above that door cut basically there. And now I need to sketch or draw the false ceiling over here basically.
The top floor is not connected to the level 3.
Sorry, yeah, it's not connected, which is okay. Right now I'm just creating for one of the level, that is level 1. So if you wanted to draw or create a ceiling, when you come into the architectural tab, in the architectural tab, just next to the roof only you have the ceiling command. And over here, when you take the ceiling command, you get 2 methods of creation. One is automatic, and the second one, it says sketch ceiling. Now, when to take automatic ceiling and when to take sketch ceiling. See, when you already have an enclosed wall boundary or an enclosed room, we can take automatic ceiling. Okay, so I don't need to draw the ceiling lines or anything. It will automatically pick the enclosed boundary of the wall, and it will automatically create a ceiling for me. But if suppose your ceiling is having patterns or shapes basically, it's not flat, it has multiple pattern, curve pattern, cut pattern basically there, or a drop pattern basically there. So if you have a pattern in your ceiling, a shape, a geometrical shape which is not straight basically there, so in that case you will take sketch ceiling. So sketch ceiling will allow you to draw your pattern of the ceiling basically there, okay, of whatever shape you want. Maybe you want a circular ceiling, or maybe you want a triangular ceiling or something, a different type of ceiling, or you want a cove ceiling basically there. Okay, so you can take sketch ceiling for that basically. But if you want to create a flat ceiling especially, or a grid ceiling, flat grid ceiling, so you can take the automatic command basically there. Okay, so I'm going to show you both the method by taking automatic command also and by taking the sketch command also. First I'll take the automatic ceiling option. So if I pick the automatic ceiling option, first I need to choose the type of ceiling that I'm going to apply in the project. So by default, we have 4 types of ceiling available. So when you look into your properties, you have 4 types of ceilings. We have a basic ceiling, which is generic ceiling. Then we have a compound ceiling. So in compound ceiling, we have 3 types of compound ceiling. One is of 600 by 600 grid ceiling. Then we have another 600 by 1200 grid ceilings. Okay, and then we have the plain ceilings basically. Okay. grid ceilings are generally used in commercials. Okay, they are in grid shape forms basically, and even plain ceilings can be used in commercial or residential as well. So I'm going to use it over here as of right now as a plain ceiling. So I'm going to pick plain ceiling. Okay. From the property, I've selected a type of the ceiling that I wanted to use in the project is plain ceiling. Okay. Now, when I look up in the bottom, it says about the constraints properties, and in the constraint properties, it tells me that on which level you are applying the ceiling. So currently, I'm on level 1, so it is displaying me my name of the level. And then you have these options. This says height offset from level basically, and that's 2600. Okay, so that's 2600 means that would be my height of the ceiling from the slab level. Okay, not from the finished floor level. So this is from the slab level, 2600 mm. So currently my if you look into my section, that the slab to the slab is 4000. So from slab to slab it is 4000 mm, means 4 meter, and from the slab to the ceiling bottom or the slab bottom, which is 2850 basically that. Okay, means 3.85 meter basically that. 3.85 meter is the height that I'm getting uh, in the room basically. Okay, so slab to slab is 4 meter, and but from the slab top to the slab bottom is 3.85 meter basically. Okay, so if I draw a ceiling, it is on putting at 2600, which would be from the slab top to the ceiling bottom basically. Okay, that would be 2600. So let me go back into that ceiling level, take the ceiling command once again and pick the type of ceiling. If you want to adjust the height of the ceiling, you can still adjust the height of the ceiling. Okay, so maybe you wanted a drop of ceiling like no longer of 600 mm. So we know that we were getting of 3850. Um, so you can minus 600 out of that. So that would be 3250. Okay, so we'll give the ceiling height 3250. And then if I click on apply, and now you can see it says room bounding is on. So we'll tick it on so that it will apply the ceiling into that room. If I untick that room bounding, it will apply to the entire room basically. So I'll pick that option. Room. So this is my room. Okay. Now when I'm in the ceiling plan view, I'm unable to guess which room is what. Is this kitchen or is this kitchen? Is this living room or is this living room basically? So we are unable to guess which room is what basically. So before we create the ceiling also, we can once again tag the rooms, which already we have tagged it, but only thing is that does not display me the name of the room. So what I'm going to do over here, that we're going to come into the annotate tab and take this option that is called tag all. And then we can take the tag for the rooms. So on the room tags category, we click on apply, and then we click on OK. So now we can see the name of the room even in the ceiling plans basically. So earlier we were not able to guess which room was what basically in the ceiling plan. It was only available in your floor plans. Now it is also visible in my ceiling plan view as well. So this becomes easy for me whenever I'll be drawing a ceiling plan. So once again, I'll pick ceiling again, pick the level, apply the offset, room bounding on. So you can see now automatic ceilings. When I'm dragging the cursor or keeping the cursor in this room, you can see it's like a red line has been drawn. That's the line of the ceiling. So that's where the ceiling would be coming in basically. So I'm gonna click it to apply it. Click, and there we got that ceiling has been created basically there. Now if you look into your section view, you'll come to know there is a ceiling line. Here we are. That's my fall ceiling created, and you can check the height of that ceiling from the slab level to the ceiling bottom. That's 3250. That's what exactly we have given basically there. Okay, and this drop is of 600 mm. Okay, so we have a flat ceiling, plain ceiling has been created. Okay, but if you wanted to create some grid ceilings, maybe in the kitchen I want to create some grid ceilings, so we can again pick the ceiling command, and I'll again take automatic ceiling, but the type I'm going to take grid ceilings. Just keep the cursor on that room and just click it once. You'll see that grids have been drawn, and that means a ceiling is been applied it to the kitchen. You can even cut a section view, and you can right click on that section and go to view, and you'll find that there is a ceiling for that specific room, and that's the grid ceilings. Okay, just make the detail level as fine so that you can see the detailing for that ceilings. Okay, now let me come into my 3D view to see whether the ceilings have been drawn or not. Okay, but I'm unable to see that ceilings or the false ceilings, so we can come into the visibility graphics, that is VG, and maybe I can hide the walls for temporary moment so that we see whether the ceilings have been drawn or not. Here we go. So that's the flat ceiling for the living room, and that's the grid ceiling that we have drawn for the kitchen basically. If I switch this mode to fine details and realistic, so we'll see that texture of the grids, and that's the texture for that flat ceiling basically. Okay, so that's ceilings are being created. Okay, but what if we want to create some pattern ceilings basically there? So generally we see a lot of ceiling with design basically there. A lot of patterns are there. You get these patterns, you can see like a round shape is cut out basically there. Sometimes you see these kind of patterns in the ceilings. Something these kind of ceilings are there. Lot of patterns you get basically. These patterns, okay, or any pattern like these. Cool. So maybe I want to create something, a pattern, this type of pattern for the living room. Okay, now we already have a flat ceiling, just we wanted another drop ceiling. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my ceiling level, and I want to create it right over here in the middle, somewhere over here, or maybe a circular shape but drop below the ceiling basically, the false ceiling. Okay, so again I'm going to take the ceiling command, right, and this time I'm going to take sketch ceiling. Okay, and I'll draw that shape of the ceiling that I wanted to draw it. Maybe I'm just going to draw a circle right from here, right from this point somewhere. Okay, I'm going to draw right this circle of 1800 mm. And before I click on the finish mode to apply this shape, I'm going to select the type of the ceiling over here, which I'm going to take it as plain. And also about the height offset basically. Now this would be more dropped below basically. So the last ceiling that I was created was a 3250 basically. So this will more come below it. So this will go down. Let's say I go it another 200 or 250 down. So I'm going to take 3 meters. Okay, and then click on apply, and then I'm going to hit on the finish mode to complete. So now you can see a shape. We can see a shape in the fall ceiling plan. But if you look into your section view, you'll find that that shape is like below this shape basically. And if you look into your 3D view, you'll find that there we go, have that circle shape has been drawn over there basically. What if I want a cut in that, this ceiling actually, the ceiling that above that I've created basically. So maybe I don't want this. It should be cut it inside this ceiling only basically. Okay, so I'm gonna select this ceiling and gonna take edit boundary, which will allow me to edit that ceiling. So if I take edit boundary, I will go back to my ceiling level plan. As you can see, we get this magenta lines, and then again I can create that shape or any shape. Maybe I'll create some shape like that, rectangular shapes in the middle, and then I'm going to hit on the finish mode. And now if I look back in my 3D view, you can see the ceiling is like cut hollow in that shape, and that's directly getting me a see-through to this top slab basically. Okay, so you can cut that ceiling, and after you cut that ceiling, you can create another drop basically below that cut ceiling. So you can come back in that ceiling level. You can again draw a ceiling, sketch it. I'm going to give a little bit offset. Let's say I give an offset of 100 mm. Be too big actually. No, it's fine. 100 mm. Same over here as well. 100 mm. Finish it off. And if you look at in your 3D view, you can see that this one is dropped. You can adjust these heights. No, that goes in. So let's take. So you can create many shapes through this ceiling commands basically. Now when you select this ceiling, and if you come into the edit type actually, and this is where my plane ceiling actually, the total thickness of my plane ceiling is going to 57 mm basically over here, which is quite thick actually. Generally we get at gypsum board of like 12, 18, 20, 25 mm thick, or even 30 mm thick basically. That 57 mm thick is too huge basically. So we need to change the thickness for the gypsum board basically. Okay, so I'm gonna click on duplicate first before I make any changes to the type parameters. I'm gonna call this plane ceiling. Right. Now, when you look into the preview mode of the ceiling, you can see two layers are there. I can understand this layer could be for the gypsum, but the other layer is, I don't know what layer is this. So if I come into the edit type, you'll see we have two layers. Okay, so one is the metal stud layers, and the other one is my gypsum board, which is of just 12 mm thick. So that's all right. We have this metal stud, which is going to a thickness of 45 mm basically there. Okay, so if you don't want to display your metal studs basically then, so you can select that layer and you can delete that layer, but I'm unable to delete it because we have something that is going outside the core boundary. So we're gonna put this inside this core boundary, this gypsum board, and then I can remove this metal studs from there. Okay, and the gypsum board could be my supporting material, so that would be substrate. Plyboard, gypsum board, they are all my supporting materials. So there will be substrate in functions. Well, you can change the thickness of your gypsum board. Maybe you don't want of 12 mm, you want it of around 18 mm thicker. So you can say 18 mm thick. Then you click on OK, and one time OK. So now we don't have a metal stud layer in this fall ceiling, just the gypsum board is there. Okay, now generally ceiling are never been hung like that. It cannot be in air. we need to create the connections, the studs basically that okay, the channels, the omega channels and the connection channels for the false ceilings. Okay, but we'll not do it right now. We'll first understand the type of the ceilings. Same goes for this ceiling type. Maybe I'm going to make that to plain ceiling. But let's say that I don't want the material to be having that gypsum. Maybe I'm going to have some finished material below this, maybe paint or maybe some sort of laminatings basically there. Okay, so below this ceiling we wanted to apply paint finish. It is right now unfinished. We can see the clearly we can see the material of gypsum boards. It's like not really flat painted also. So we wanted to apply some paint material below the ceiling. So I'm going to select that ceiling or whichever ceiling you want to edit. You can come into the edit type. I'm going to duplicate this ceiling. I will call this plain ceiling with paint maybe. So I'm going to name that as plain ceiling with paint. Right, and then we can come back to the edit type or your edit structure. And now we can insert another layer of paint just like we inserted in the walls. So a new layer is inserted. You can bring this down below the score boundary and we'll choose the function type as finish 2, not finish 1, because its ceiling is inside my rooms. Okay, so finish material, paint is a finish material. What thickness would you like to give to your paint? Maybe I'm going to give 1 mm thicker, not much thick. Okay, or maybe very less, 0.5 also you can give it. How thin you want to apply it? Let's give 0.5 only, not too much thickness I wanted. And we wanted to apply some different paint material, like not white, but maybe some different color. Basically, generally we apply white only, milk white to the false ceilings. But if you wish to give some different paint material, you can apply different paint material, or instead of paint you can apply even laminate finish to your false ceilings basically. Okay, so I'm going to just give paint. So I'm going to come into the material editor. I'm going to create a material for that paint. I'm going to come into identity, rename this material. That's going to go in the ceiling. And it's going to be white, suppose. And category would be painted. No patterns. And appearance is going to pick. And paint. Paint, not wall paint. Wall paint is something different. We're just going to pick paint, and in paint I'm going to take maybe not glossy but normal paint. And white paint here. That's too glossy. Normal paint only. And that's an image. But I don't want that image, so I'm going to remove that image. I'm going to just use the color. And it's not really white also, so I'm going to make it white. It's going to be really white. Okay. You can click on apply, and okay, and then you've got that material applied it. You can click on OK. Yeah, but we have given thickness also, but like it's 0.5 is not accepting, so make it 1. So now you will see that paint is like between this and this. Basically, you can see a little bit rough mark, and we have a very less rough mark on this. It's pure white. Still, I can see that rough marking. So, ceiling paint material has some sort of bump in it, which I don't want it, so I'm going to remove it, the bump, and make it flat. So just flat the bumps and all. Right, so that's your ceiling with some sort of paint actually. Maybe we don't want some sort of paint, but we want some like laminate or some sort of textured in that ceiling. So we can again select that ceiling, come into the type, duplicate it. Edit structure, I can insert a new layer. Get that as finished to give thickness 1 mm thicker. I can create some material for that. Categorize as wood. I'm going to take surface pattern as of now as wood finish, and cut pattern, I'm going to pick it as slightly this one. Got disconnected. So you got that cut pattern as cutedly, and then from the appearance, pick the piece of wood. I'm going to pick very randomly some texture, very rough, walnut glossy. Stick that. Semi-gloss, that's fine. Apply, okay. Then okay. So we have some texture. So we have this flat painted, this is some textured painted ceilings. So you can edit the type of your ceiling actually. Okay. Now, sometimes in some cases we have this cove ceiling, so we need to create that notch on the end of this ceilings. Means, I'll give you an example. Something notch like that, so that we can hide our lights or the LED profile so that it's not being visible. Okay, so generally I might have one more example for that. example of it. This is it. So we want to create this notch on these ends, actually, all the way around. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take two methods actually to create me. One is like, I'll take the section view first. And I'll just check the distance from this slab level to this level, which is 3119. Okay, so I'm going to come back to by ceiling level and draw another ceiling. Right, I can take sketch ceiling. I'll draw this at 3119 mm. I'm going to draw it over this element. You can lock these lines. I'm not going to finish this element yet. I'm going to create one more rectangular shape, but I'm going to give an offset. Give an offset of, let's say, 30 mm, but not facing outside, but inside. Like that. And then I'm going to hit on the finish edit mode to complete. So now if you look into your 3D view, you'll find that there is the box basically being formed. Change the type of the ceiling. I'm going to take this white painted ones, like that. But we can see these two lines basically, so we can come into modified join geometry tool, join this with this, and it comes as one part. So when I look into this section views, it might look like they are jointed. You can remove the paint material from this one so that it gets joined together. I'll just duplicate first. See that material, but it's here is like material has been not been applied, so we can directly take the paint tool and we can directly apply the paint to this face. I think it's applied it. Okay, so you can create your notched, but if you want the notch to be like this, like little like slant cutted basically there, as you can see, it's like a little slant cutted basically there. So this method is not possible. You might have to use a different method to create that notch basically there. Not create a family, we'll create a model in place family over here. So how do I do that? So I'm going to delete this one. Okay, and we wanted to create a notch, but it's going to be a little cross-cut. So for this type, I'm gonna go to the architectural tab and gonna pick this command called component. And in that component option, I'm gonna pick this option that is called model in place. Okay, so if I pick model in place option, I'll get this category list. Now what model in place you wanted to create. So we're gonna pick ceiling from here. In model in place, we are picking ceiling. And then I'm gonna click on OK. It is gonna ask me what do you want to name this component. We'll call this as this is ceiling for the living room. And that's the notch actually. So I'm going to call this as ceiling dash living room dash notched. Okay. I'm going to click on OK. And now I can create the family in the model only. So you can see from the top, we get all the tools related to family now. Okay. So before I start modeling, I'll gonna set my work plane. So I'm going to click on set work plane. So I'm going to click on set work plane. It's going to ask me on which plane you want to work. So I'm going to take this option called pick a plane. Okay, because from here I'll only get the level names, which is this is not on a level. So I'm going to pick a plane, click on OK, and I'm going to pick this top plane so that whatever I sketch or draw, it would be all been drawn on that given plane that I'm picking. So when I picked it, okay, so now you can see that work plane also been set it on the top of that as well. And then we could have used a tool that is called solid sweep. Okay. So in solid sweep, what you need to do is you need to first create the path line, and then you need to create the profile. Okay. So I'm going to take solid sweep. So I take solid sweep. From here, I'm going to take sketch path first. First, we need to draw the path line. Take sketch path. Now it is really impossible to sketch a path in the 3D view. So I'm going to go into my ceiling plan level, and from here I can like draw it very quickly. So I'm going to take the line or the rectangle tool. I'm going to draw like a path lines all the way till here. Right, and you can lock these path lines with that shape actually, so that in just in case like in future you change the shape, basically that's even your notch would be moved with that shape distance. And once your path has been created, we'll click on the finish edit mode because we have complete created the path shape. So when you click on finish edit mode, now we need to create the profile. So we're going to take edit profile, right? So when I take edit profile, it will tell me, oh, you can't create a profile in this level or in this view. You either need to go into your east elevation view or the west elevation view or the section 1 view or the 3D elevation view. So I'm going to pick section 1 view, which is this line actually. I'm going to pick that, open with, and now I can create that profile shape, which would be this shape, like will go straight and like a little crossed, and then here this much shape. So I'm gonna come over here, pick that line tool. I'm just drawing very roughly. Maybe I'm gonna give an height up to 50 mm. Could go a little crossed, angle of 25 degrees, 30 mm thicker, and till here and till here. So make sure that your profile is a close looped profile. Once your profile is ready, you can click on the finish mode that your profile is ready. Okay, so done. And before I one more time, we need to click on the finish object. Okay, and before I click on finish model, I'll make sure that I'll provide the material to that model, which is right in the properties. Material, it says by category, and we could come into the material options. I can directly apply that material. Which materials is the gypsum material? I can apply gypsum material. Gypsum wallboard material. So that material has been assigned. I can even associate this material option so that in project अगर मुझे वो material change करना है, I don't want that material to be applied at basically there. I can also change. So we need to associate that family parameter. Create a material parameter. Call this as gypsum board basically, or whatever you want to call this. Material. Okay, and now I'm going to hit on the finish edit, finish model mode. There you go. Now if you look into your 3D view, you can see that the profile has been created. Okay. You can then use the join geometry tool to join both of these element. The paint material will be not been applied to the side, which you can come into modify, and you can pick the paint tool and pick the flat paint. Just make sure that select that face actually. Yeah, unjoin it first and then apply the paint. Or the best method is you directly apply the material of paint instead of. Is that material called? Paint material. Yeah. Oh. Just if you wanted to show basically that. Right. So that's how you can please create at least the basics of the false ceilings at least. Okay. Right. The next important thing in the false ceiling is that we create this channels actually. Where are they gone? Oh, here we are. So on that, the gypsum board will be mounted, and these channel would be then been hung on this basically. Okay. So that's a suspended ceiling actually. Okay. So we need to create this element so that in project it doesn't looks like it's been hanging in the air actually. So we have not created that suspended ceilings basically. We just created that gypsum ceiling at least. So in the next class, we'll start with suspended ceiling designs. Okay, and we'll also create some other types of ceiling shapes and designs. Maybe this shape or yeah, we'll create these shapes. Yeah, curve. Many designs are there. You can please try out. So these are the ceiling types. Even this is one of the type of your ceilings. These are called your bevel ceiling or waffle ceilings. So there are many types of ceilings you get it. So, waffle ceilings. It's all modern ceilings actually. So we'll try some of these type of ceiling now. Sometimes you get this shape as well, this profile shapes as well, molding profiles around the ceilings. Okay, so you can create these as well, molding profiles around the ceilings. Right. So try this first, and then we'll move ahead. Okay, guys.
Yes, sir. Clear to hear.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.